told you guys that I wanted to do a sequel. I had a lot of interest in doing another video on fasting. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so let's just get this set up. All right, guys, so today I'm going to continue talking on fasting, but talk particularly about the various fasting protocols and also why short-term fasts can actually result in long-term weight gain for some people. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So when you fast and insulin drops, right, the first thing that is going to happen is insulin makes the body hold on to sodium. Okay, so what will happen is once insulin falls, your body will release some sodium, and that will cause water to go with it. Okay, and so you'll lose a significant amount of water. And many people love this because this has been a sort of fad type of thing in the diet world, right? Because people say, hey, lose 10 pounds in 10 days. And partly what they do is they're going very, very low calorie, very low carb. And as a result, they're reducing insulin to such an extent, okay, that you shed a bunch of water. And you also burn through a bunch of your glycogen stores as well, which also makes you hold on to water, okay? So when you drop your calories, especially your carbs, you're going to drop your insulin and you're going to drop your water. And glycogen, which is stored in the liver and muscle tissue, is sort of like a sponge. It holds about 3 times its weight in water. So when you decrease insulin, your body gets rid of sodium, which then gets rid of water, and you also burn through your glycogen stores, which makes you get rid of even more water, okay? So you get a really big drop in water pretty quickly just by reducing calories and specifically also reducing carbohydrates, okay? And this can happen overnight for some people or can happen longer for others, okay? And that's the first thing that happens there. The other thing that can happen is when you fast, obviously, this is what we talked about yesterday, but here it is again, okay? So the other thing that can happen is in red. Cortisol can rise, okay, and ghrelin can also rise. And both of these can trigger hunger, energy, and cravings to just get out of whack, out of check, right? Remember, we always want to keep our HEC in check. HEC, hunger, energy, cravings. But ghrelin in particular does something that can be pretty nasty for some people, okay? Ghrelin turns on these like sort of certain genetic things that happen. When ghrelin, what ghrelin can do is it actually makes you more likely to store fat once you end your fast. And so you have to be very aware of this effect, this ghrelin effect here, okay? Ghrelin, which you can remember by thinking of growling, right? Like growling in the stomach. It even sounds like a stomach growl, right? And what ghrelin does is for some people, short-term fasts can actually result in long-term weight gain. And you have to be aware of that, okay? People don't realize this, but the increase in ghrelin from fasting, okay, can make you more efficient to store fat in the long run, okay? So now this is not necessarily true for everybody, all right? But you do need to keep it in mind. And on the flip side of things, one of the other things that fasting does that can be very beneficial is it can turn on human growth hormone, okay, which really sort of opposes the action of cortisol, okay? And so, and what research is telling us, what research is showing is that, what's maybe going on here is a certain genetic individuals may get more of a growth hormone response from fasting, while others may get more of a cortisol response to fasting, okay? And so that may determine whether fasting is good for you or not, okay? And so that's what you need to figure out is which person are you, okay? So think about that, and let's go ahead and get into some of the different fasting protocols now, okay? So there are 3 fasting protocols, major fasting protocols. And the first one is my favorite, which is called the nighttime fast, okay? Night fasting. Make sure you guys don't look at that. And here's the interesting thing about fasting, okay? There's intermittent fasting or alternate day fasting, okay? And alternate day fasting is one of the most popular ways of doing fasting, and it consists of 24 hours with food and 24 hours without food. Okay, so a lot of people are kind of familiar with this. Well, the nighttime fast does the same thing. It gives you equal time with food and also equal time without food. Okay, and so this is usually where anywhere between like a 12-hour fast, or it could be shorter. So for some people, like maybe, a 10-hour fast or even an 8-hour fast. Okay, and it could also be longer for others. So it could go up to a 14-hour fast or a 16-hour fast. It's just basically like less than 24 hours. Okay, and the fast happens mainly at night, and that's part of the benefit, because while you're sleeping, you're not going to be aware of your cravings, right? And so you won't be thinking about food and things like that. So this fast will normally occur when, most people will have their last meal by, 8 p.m., let's say, and then they'll not eat again till 8 a.m. Okay, so that would be a 12-hour fast. Or maybe they delay it to 10 a.m., which would be a 14-hour fast. Or maybe they could push it more to 12 p.m., which would be a 16-hour fast. Okay, and then they just consume all their meals from, that moment up until 8 p.m. And so what happens is, while they're eating, they eat every 2 hours or so, but then they have this long period of time without food. And many people can make this a really sustainable lifestyle. It's almost freeing, almost, to not have to think about food. And it's very easy and very natural for them. So this is a type of fast that I normally at least like to start my clients off with. I'll start them off with an 8-hour fast, because it's just like the most sustainable, and it's good for you to go that long without food. But for people who like to exercise, typically anywhere between 8 to 12 hours is kind of where I like to keep it. So 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. is kind of where they would usually do very well in their sort of fast loss results without having to take on too much stress and muscle sparing effect. And so one that I recommend to everybody is just, that nighttime fast. But the second type of fast that you can use is a modified fast, which is basically a longer fast, first of all, and it can last anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. So we're just talking about a longer one here. And normally it's going to be, probably between 24 to 36 hours a day, to a day and a half. All right. So the way this works is you might have your last meal at 8 p.m. right, and then you don't eat the whole rest of the day until the following day until 8 a.m. And so you have a whole day in between where you are essentially going, this first 12 hours without food, and then another 12 hours, and that would be your 24-hour fast. Okay. So one of the things that we do here is, because this fast is longer, it's so long without food, and it's not easy to forego food. There are a lot of foods and research that has shown that you can do this in a very modified way and give sort of like non-calorie foods, things like celery, things like cucumbers or pickles, things like BCAAs, branched chain amino acid supplements, or like green drinks, red drinks, even coffee, tea, stuff like that. Basically food items that have 0 calories, okay, or very low calories. And so these are the things that you can make, or that can make you feel like you're actually eating, but you're not having to really like stave off hunger, right? And fiber supplements will do this too, okay? So that's another one that can stave off some of the hunger, energy, and craving responses. So, and that way, like having these little things, it's tolerable for some people, and you can still get really good results here, okay? So the way they would do this is they would say, okay, I'm going to fast one day. So I'm going to go, 8 p.m. to 8 p.m., 24-hour fast, or I'm going to go 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., right? So that would be a 36-hour fast. And, and then I'm going to go to 8 p.m. and then 48 hours later, eat again, okay? And then they'll take a period of time where they're on that, and then they do it again. So it's kind of this alternate day, right? So they'll do like a 24-hour and then eat, and then 24-hour and then eat. So some of these fasts will just be 1 to 3 days during the week, or 1 day during the week, perhaps on a Sunday. Okay, or sometimes people just do it like 1 day a month. It just kind of depends on what works for you and your lifestyle. Okay, but you can use some of these non-food items to help with that, and that can be a really good lifestyle for some people. And I also think it's like a good test, mentally, to keep you sort of challenged. But most people can't go through that, as a lifestyle, really. So you might say, okay, well, when would you use a modified type fast? Well, I'd say if you're looking to lose those last little bit of fat and you want to take it sort of to the next level, right, in your sort of dieting habits, this can be something that you look for. But remember that you have to watch out for the cortisol and the ghrelin effect, right? And you have to figure out if this is really working for you or if you just are trying to force it and make it happen. And so the final type of fast that I want to go over is the daylight fast, otherwise known as the warrior fast. And essentially what this is it's really similar. The research on this comes from those who do like a Ramadan fasting in the Muslim world. And basically what this protocol involves is it involves no food during the day and then one meal at night, okay? So you have to be really careful here because, again, you have to figure out if this is really something that's good for you and working for you and giving you results, or something that is getting your heck out of check and not letting you see results. So this can happen naturally for some really big obese people. Will do this, or just people who prefer to kind of go all day and then just eat at night. But then again, how many people do you know skip breakfast, have very little for lunch, get home at 5 p.m., and then eat from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., a continuous meal? A lot of people, right? A lot of people do that, okay? And then they crash on the bed, they go into an insulin coma all night because they ate so much junk food that night, all right? And so that doesn't really work for you. So you're going to want to watch and see if you're someone who can get to, 7 p.m., 6 p.m. in the evening when it's dark and have a large but sensible meal. Then if you can do that, that may actually work for you. And this is known as the warrior diet, okay? So there's a whole diet based on this whole concept because it's based off the hunter-gatherer sort of societies, because they tended to eat this way. They tended to, basically maybe snack just a tiny bit during the day, but basically eat nothing but, just very lightly during the day, because they were hunting and gathering food. And then at night, that's when they would have their one big meal at night. Okay, so that's another way to fast. Okay, so the 3 fasts, again, that can be very helpful are the nighttime fast, the modified fast, and the warrior fast, or the daylight fast. Okay, and I actually have a downloadable cheat sheet for you guys that will walk you through how to do each one of these very specifically, step by step. So if this is something that you're interested in, all you got to do is click the link. I'm going to post it below in the comments here, so just hang on. But again, be careful with this fasting, because many people who do this fasting regime actually end up fatter in the long run because it was not actually a useful style for them. Okay, so you're gonna really have to do your due diligence, and if you're gonna do fasting, make sure it's actually working for you. Okay, and make sure you're tracking. The way you know it's working for you is your HEC is in check, hunger, energy, and cravings are stable, and you are seeing results in a way that you are losing body fat, not muscle mass. So you can't just weigh yourself on a body weight. You also have to measure body fat, okay? And so that way you know whether you're holding on to muscle or not, and whether it's working for you or not, okay? So again, if you're looking for a little guidance on this, you can do like a self-led thing. I have a downloadable cheat sheet. I'm going to post that in the comments. Or just send me a DM, because I won't post it in the comments. Maybe I will post it in the comments in the Instagram. But send me a DM, and I can send you the link, and you guys can check that out for yourself. It's got all 3 fasts in there, so you can lead yourself through that, okay? Otherwise, if you guys are looking for one-on-one help and you really want the fast track, just hit me up, send me a DM, and we'll get on a phone call and do a 30-minute breakthrough session, see where you're at, and see where I can help you. So, all right, guys, I hope you like that. Yeah, let me hear you. Tell me you're out there, and let me know what else you want to hear, okay? All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.